TIFU by kissing the top of my baby daughter's head. A little over a week ago, I kissed the top of our 7.5 weeks old baby's head. It was a single, light kiss, and she had a thick head of hair with no obvious scratches or other skin imperfections. But I had cold sores on my lips at the time. We have been really careful to avoid giving our children cold sores or otherwise pass along the herpes virus, HSV1. We have maintained a strict no kissing on the lips or face rule between everyone and our children, and I do not kiss my wife on the lips or other regions while I have cold sores. But just a few hours ago, our 7.5 weeks old baby was diagnosed with HSV1. She developed sores starting from where I kissed the top of her head within 24 to 48 hours of the kiss. We weren't sure what the sores were initially, so we brought her to a walk-in medical clinic for assessment. They took a swab sample for testing and provided a prescription for topical, skin-applied antibiotics, while suggesting the sores could be due to a bacterial infection. But after 48 hours, the sores were continuing to grow and spread across the top of her head. So we phoned the clinic and our family doctor, but they still had no test results. They then provided a prescription for oral antibiotics. But after 24 hours, the sores were continuing to grow and were now across her forehead. We still had no test results, so my wife took her to our family doctor. But our family doctor did not know the cause of the sores either and suggested we take her to the Children's Hospital Emergency. We took our baby to Children's Emergency that evening. They took a look at the sores and listened to our concerns. They also took swab, blood, and urine samples to try to determine the cause of the sores, bacterial or viral, and to determine if it had spread to other organs or systems. They tried to take a sample near the spinal cord as well to check if it was in her central nervous system, but they were unable to collect what they needed due to her small size, 10 pounds, and movement during their attempts. While waiting for the results from the hospital, we were informed that the test results from the walk-in clinic showed only a culture of normal skin bacteria. But the hospital staff told this could be due to them collecting the sample from the surface and not opening up the sore to collect. She was admitted to hospital and started on IV antiviral and antibiotic medication. After spending 48 hours in the hospital, we were informed that she has contracted HSV1 and that the sores may reoccur in the same region it started originally, top of head, or around the mouth. Different infectious disease doctors gave varying options on where the sores may appear in the future. They told us that she will need at least a week of IV antiviral as she is too young to take oral antiviral. My mom was infected with HSV1 when she was in grade 6, likely from her dad, and was hospitalized for a month. Apparently, they thought at the time that she would die from it due to the severity of the response. And my older brother and I both were infected with HSV1 around that same age or younger from our mom, but we have had only recurring cold sores with no other major symptoms. I seem to get cold sores almost exclusively when I have a lack of sleep and thus put stress on the body, leading to a compromised immune system. Now our little girl has them despite our best efforts, and it breaks my heart. We are concerned about it now being easier to spread to our other children, and the possibility of it spreading my wife's breasts, which would affect her ability to breastfeed, especially concerning if we have more children in the future. And I have found cold sores to be a cause of physical, emotional, and social discomfort in my own life, so I am very sorry to have passed it along to my daughter. I had no idea that HSV1 could be spread through contact with skin. Growing up, I only heard of it being through mucous membranes, lip-to-lip kissing, sharing cups and utensils, etc. And a few years ago, I read that it could spread to breasts or genitals despite not being HSV2, genital herpes. Looking it up online now, I am seeing that they suggest not kissing babies under 28 days to avoid causing neonatal herpes. But what I was reading did not make it clear that kissing any part of the baby could spread the virus. The doctor stated it is possible to spread through kissing the top of her head, but prior to diagnosis, said he would be surprised if it was HSV1, because she was not under 28 days. She was 6.5 weeks at time of kiss. She was full term, healthy weight with no complications during pregnancy or postpartum. According to the info I found online, herpes on an infant or child can have life-changing consequences aside from the sores, such as blindness and brain damage, and can often be fatal. Apparently, the majority of the general population likely has herpes, but a lot of people are asymptomatic, i.e., I have never had any cold sores. And herpes can be spread within the body or to others, whether or not there are sores present at the time, although it makes it more likely to spread to others if there are sores. My wife informed of a case. There is at least one article online from 2008 regarding it, where herpes had spread to an infant and they were hospitalized. But a week after the infant's sores were no longer present, the baby died due to the virus spreading within the body. So I am sitting here in the hospital full of regret over that single kiss and hoping that she is able to make a full recovery. But I am glad that she did develop visible sores and that I suggested along the way that the sores could be due to herpes, because they were able to diagnose and treat the virus relatively early, which may have prevented it from spreading to other regions of the body. I am also glad that our baby was healthy on seemingly all account prior to this incident, because it would likely affect her worse had there been other compromising factors. And I am hopeful that effective and safe therapeutic and preventative vaccines for the virus will be developed in the near future. I do not want to cause unnecessary or excessive fear among others, but I want to share my experience and raise awareness of the risk. I wish I knew what I do now a couple of weeks ago. I would take back that kiss in a heartbeat. TLDR. I gave my baby daughter a single kiss on the top of her head and now she has herpes. HSV1. TIFU by unintentionally telling a woman she looked over 40. For some insight to my communication style, I am someone who has always been very awkward and socially anxious. But within recent years, I have been making a conscious effort to open up and practice talking to people regularly. At my job, we tend to give out free samples of our products on Saturdays. Some of the samples have alcohol, and our rule of thumb is to card anyone who looks under 30. However, once upon a time, I worked at a large retail chain, and their rule was to card anyone that looked under 40. A super nice lady who appeared to be close to my age, early 30s, maybe late 20s, walks up as I beckon her over for some free deliciousness. She asks if I need to see her ID. I say, "Nah, that's all right." And then my dumbass brain proceeds to time travel or some shit, as I then continue with, "We tend to card those that look under 40, and you do not." She smiles and walks off with her sample. After like 3 seconds of that sentence echoing through the empty halls of my mind, I realize what I just said to this poor woman. This poor, beautiful millennial woman. In case she sees this, I am infinitely sorry and I will lose sleep over this for many years to come. TLDR. A customer asked if I needed to card her for alcohol, and when I said no, I accidentally said it was because she didn't look under 40 when I meant 30. TIFU. By trusting my chiropractor instead of my new doctor for my back pain. So, about 5 months ago, I started experiencing consistent lower back and hip pain. I had been going to a chiropractor for years, but this time I decided to see a new doctor to get a second opinion. The doctor suggested physical therapy, and I thought it would be a good idea to continue seeing the chiropractor as well, thinking they would both help me get aligned. However, things took a turn for the worse. Every time I went to physical therapy and got aligned, the next week I would be out of whack again. I didn't initially realize it was because of the chiropractor, as I had heard that sometimes the body has a hard time holding alignment. But when my physical therapist noticed the drastic misalignment after a chiropractor visit, I couldn't bring myself to admit the truth. I've since decided to stop going to the chiropractor and solely focus on physical therapy. It's disheartening to think about all the money I've spent on chiropractic treatments that may have been making my condition worse. Lesson learned. Always trust your doctor over alternative treatments. TLDR. I trusted my chiropractor instead of my new doctor for my back pain, and it turns out the chiropractor may have been making my condition worse. Now I'm sticking to physical therapy and regretting the money I've spent on chiropractic treatments. TIFU, by spending $1,000 just to meet my long-distance girlfriend. I've been talking to my girlfriend a little over a month. I happen to really like her, and we talked a lot to each other. She actually helped me get over my grandmother death when I didn't have my family because I was at college. We spent a lot of time with each other and called each other. Sometime we would mess around at time too. I'm not gonna lie, I should seen there would have been problems, especially early on when she said, "I'm still not attracted to you, I keep trying to make it work, but it just isn't coming. And that isn't because you are not attractive, I think it's a me problem." This was like only a week of talking. She took a break for 2 days of talking to me. She came back and told me she missed and wanted things the way they were. So we continued talking. As we talked, she was very affectionate. She would say things to me like, "I love my silly goofy boyfriend, and I miss you," and just overall be really sweet to me. I really liked her because of her humor, the fact we both struggle with autism, and our love for drawing. She can relate to me in a way a few people could. This was my first actual girlfriend, so I actually wanted to meet her. I booked a flight to her town to visit her. The tickets were around $400, and the cost of getting a hotel for 3 nights is also around $400. I was so excited to meet her, and she seemed pretty excited to see me too. We talked about cuddle with each other at her house and how we were going to a water park together. Things looked like they were going to be worth it. It was Saturday, and we both meet at the mall with her mom too. We hung out for a bit, and around the time we at Build-A-Bear, she asked to kiss me. And after that, we kissed a lot while in line, and then we held hands. After that, I talked to her mom again. TBH, she didn't like the fact that I was out of state. The next day, she said she was sick and well, we couldn't do anything together. I wanted to get something special for her birthday, and I found a rare plushie that was sold out from someone I could buy. She was so happy. But when I said I love you, she said thank you, and I appreciate that sentiment. But I do need go honest with you that I don't really feel the same way. I didn't want to say this earlier because I didn't want to hurt you. Shortly after we went to the mall, I got a boyfriend. I met him 3 years ago, and to be honest, I like him a lot. It's not fair to either of you if I'm not honest. You're very sweet, and I'm very much open to remaining as friends. I felt devastated after all this time she never had feeling for me. She didn't lose them because she never had feeling for to begin with. So now I'm here, heartbroken and alone. TLDR. I traveled miles to meet her. I spent $1,000 in total on the trip. When we meet, we kissed a lot right before we left, and we held hands in the mall. She couldn't meet up the next day. A few days she broke up with me. She said she was never in love and now is talking to another guy. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.